All right, everybody, what's going on? Good late morning, streaming with the Hawk's Nest in about an hour. But I wanted to go ahead and do something that people keep asking me to do. I've gotten some comments, I've gotten some messages on a couple of other platforms. People asking me to make Mariners videos because we're getting close to the end of the season now. We've got less than 30 games left, and the team is still holding firm and still doing pretty good. And people just want to hear me talk about the Mariners a little bit. So I figure it can't hurt because I am watching, to be clear. I said earlier this year I didn't know how much I was going to be watching them. I'm not watching every game. I'm not. But I am watching and I am aware of what the team is doing from day to day pretty well. And I made a Mariners video a while back, and my position hasn't changed radically. The only thing I'll say is that I think the residual anger at the front office and ownership for the really, really bad offseason that we had a few months ago has kind of dissipated after the trade deadline. But at the same time, it can't completely go away. Like, it's not what it was. Like, there was when I said back in April that I didn't think I was going to make Mariners videos this year, it was coming from a place of, one, I thought the team was going to be bad this year. I really did. But also, two, I was very annoyed that the team didn't seem to be taking things very seriously. We had former members of the team, guys like Justin Turner, publicly calling the team out for not spending any money, not bringing in any players, not bringing in anybody that could really help put the team over the top. And he was right. And there was definitely a part of me that was, it was a little bit spite driven. It was not just the players, it was the coaches, right? And I still think this is probably the case. Dan Wilson did not get the head coaching or manager job here because he was the best guy that they found. It wasn't because he was showing signs that he was really going to be great at the job. It was because he was there when they needed somebody. So they just threw him in there, and he's going to be cheaper than anybody else you could get. And that annoyed me. And that annoyed me even more than thinking the team was going to be bad. So that has dissipated a little bit because, for whatever it's worth, the team did take the trade deadline pretty seriously. They were able to obtain a few really important pieces that made the team clearly better without giving up anything of extreme value. And I can give credit for that. I still say that you would be better off getting those guys in the off season so that way you could enjoy them for 6 months instead of 2.5. But nevertheless, there was some effort on the part of this team to take this seriously. So I may talk about them more as time goes by. It feels kind of lame for me to say I'm not going to make Mariners videos this year and then start making them after the team is doing pretty good, after the team has set themselves up for a pretty decent shot at a postseason berth. But it's not just the postseason berth. It's not just the winning record. It's not just these things. It's the fact that they went out there and acquired a Josh Naylor, acquired a Suarez, acquired, even though he hasn't been very good, Caleb Ferguson. And there's some indication that they actually see this as their window and they're acting at least somewhat accordingly. I would have liked another bullpen arm, but didn't happen. And in their defense, I'm sure they thought Ferguson was going to be a little better than this. But 2025 Seattle Mariners, guys, I want to stress once again, I got to give a lot of credit here, and I don't really know who to give credit to. This team should not be that good. This team should be nowhere near as good as they are. 10 games above 500, game and a half out of the division lead, looking very, very good to win at least a wild card spot, still a decent chance at the division. None of those things should be happening here. This team's rotation has completely wilted from last year. Last year they had maybe, in the grand scheme, the best rotation in baseball. This year the rotation has not even been average. This year the bullpen has been completely unreliable outside of like 3 guys. We have 3 guys in the bullpen that we can trust. And one of them, you can only mostly trust. You can't completely trust him. It's a lot worse than previous Mariners bullpens. The bullpen over the last several years has been a lot better than this one. This one, We just pray we can get to Brash and Munoz, and we can kind of trust Spear. Bizzardo, I'm never going to fully trust Bizzardo, but he's been good for the most part. And we hope Ferguson can get better. But other than that, it feels like every other bullpen pitcher that pitches for this team, you're just crossing your fingers that you survive. It's brutal. It is. And despite that, despite those two things, a much worse rotation and a worse bullpen, this team is holding it together. And obviously the offense is better than it's been in a while. The offense is good. We have a full lineup plus of credible MLB hitters, right? We don't have guys like Rowdy Tellez clogging up the lineup with their sub 90 OPS plus. We don't have a guy like Ben Williamson, who is very, very weak at the plate, taking up one of the lineup spots every day. They took care of that. They did. And it's a very, very different experience to watch this team every night and feel like pretty much everybody who takes the box, everybody who steps up to the plate, can come through for you at any time, and it won't surprise you that much, right? The only real, I don't want to say problem, but the only real subpar hitter right now that plays every day is Cole Young. And he's been good. He's had good moments. For the most part, his poor play comes from early when he got called up, those first few games. Since then, he's been at least passable. And obviously, other players go through slumps. Suarez went through a big slump when he was here for a little bit at first, and then lately he's gotten warmed up. Rosarina goes through slumps. Everybody goes through slumps, so we're not even talking about that. Point is, I can turn on a Mariners game at any point during the game. If the Mariners are up at bat, they're putting somebody in the box that I think can go get the job done at the plate, period. And that is a very different feeling. Occasionally, yeah, they're going to put out a guy like Mitch Garver, who, by the way, hasn't even been that atrocious. But gone are the days of, oh, it's a lineup with Garver, Solano, Dylan Moore, and Polanco batting righty. You know, something like that, where it's just death. You just hope the guys at the top of the lineup can hit 8 home runs, because otherwise you're not going to score. You just have to hope for crazy stuff from the top guys, because the bottom guys, you know, you're going to be lucky to scrape together like 2 hits the whole game. Now, I mean, Dylan Moore is gone, obviously. Solano barely plays. Master Boney barely plays. Garver only plays certain matchups. It's a real lineup. And there are even guys you can bring in off the bench that aren't bad. Like, yeah, I mean, if you were just to take a look at the list here, right? Look at what Canzone has done since coming up. Of guys like Luke Raley, I know his numbers aren't great yet, but we know that he can play. And every time he goes up there, I feel like, hey, good things can happen here. Robles just got back. We got to give him a little bit of time here to find himself. We know he can be a good player in this league, though. And there are a couple of bullets that you can fire out of AAA. Guys like Samad Taylor, who I'm surprised isn't already up, by the way. I'm actually surprised that we don't have Samad Taylor already with the team. But there's some bullets this team can still fire to get themselves through September. And that's just the little stuff. We're not even talking about the big stuff. The big stuff is obvious. Cal, Julio, Randy, etc., etc. I don't feel the need to spend time on that. But I want to stress, again, the reason why I've really come to appreciate and respect this Mariners team is they really shouldn't be good. They have slightly below average starting pitching, and I think their bullpen is probably about average too. And in this ballpark, with this payroll, with the lineup that we started the season with, that should be a recipe for a sub 500 team. But they kept finding a way to win games regardless, because the few bullpen pitchers they had that were good were nails for most of the season. And the batters got the job done. They made some moves at the deadline to really bolster the lineup, and now they're a team that they can score 8 or 9 runs any given game against pretty much any pitcher, as long as he's not some 22-year-old making his first ever MLB start. But anyway, you guys pretty much already know this. I'm not saying anything that people aren't pretty familiar with at this point. If you're watching this team, following this team, you know what's up. We got less than 30 games left, and I'm not going to go through everything, but it looks pretty good. The only team that is really intimidating right now in terms of being able to knock Seattle out of the playoffs completely is Kansas City. Kansas City's playing well. Kansas City's not that far behind. Today the Mariners are off, but over this weekend they play the Guardians in Cleveland. If they can win even 2 of those games, Cleveland's pretty much done. Cleveland will pretty much be, I don't think they can overcome that. Cleveland is barely hanging on right now. If they lose a series at home to a team that is ahead of them in the wild card race like Seattle is, that's probably it for them. So in the next few days, we'll know what's up with Cleveland, if they're going to hang on for a little bit longer or not. But really the threat right now is Kansas City. And we get a series against Kansas City in mid-September on the road. That's when things really start to get spicy. Because this road trip, look, it's important, right? We need to prove we can do stuff on the road. Because right now, it's hard. I'm hard pressed to say that this team can get it done on the road because of the disastrous road trip they just had. And yet, I look at these two teams that are mediocre at best, and I feel like we can at least hold our own here. I feel like that our lineup can run it up a little bit in the scoring department, especially in Tampa, where at least you've got climate-controlled conditions. It's not going to... Cleveland could be tough, I guess. But Tampa, I feel like we can do some damage there. Atlanta's really bad this year, so I don't know how concerned I can be about that. I'm really looking at Kansas City and Houston. This is going to decide whether or not we can seal a playoff spot and then win the division. Houston's got a 1.5 game lead, but you take a look at their remaining schedule, you take a look at the way they're playing right now, I think it's relatively safe to say that there is a high chance that the winner of this series will win the division. I think this comes down pretty closely outside of that series. I do. And that's all you can ask for, man. That's all you can ask for. Given where this team started the season, I remember starting 3-7 and feeling like the team wasn't even that good. And I was just kind of ready to roll it up for the 2025 Mariners. I was thinking about 2026. I was thinking about new ownership that's never going to come. And then the team just starts winning and keeps winning, keeps winning, keeps winning. So the fact that we're sitting here looking at it and going, this team should almost certainly make the playoffs. Like, you can farm wins. If you can farm wins off of Atlanta, St. Louis, the Angels at home, and then, of course, the Rockies, then you don't need to do that much more in these other series to get it done. You just need to farm a little bit against these weaker teams that you're getting, especially the ones at home. But if you want to win the division, if you want to get home playoff series, then Houston, it's very key. Kansas City, I'm going to throw them in as well. And I guess this upcoming Cleveland series is pretty big too. But I'm just happy to be here right now. I'm happy to be in a place where this stuff feels like it matters. And by the way, they're doing this with a manager that seems pretty lost out there. Like, I'm not the first Mariners fan to say it, and I know I will not be the last. Dan Wilson seems kind of lost right now. I don't know if he knows what he's doing. And there have been games this year that it feels like he has cost us. There are. Maybe he's, in a general sense, doing good stuff. Maybe in terms of leadership and inspiring the team and getting the guys on board and getting the guys playing together, getting them to like each other. Maybe he's doing that stuff well, but the in-game management is brutal. That's another thing, by the way. That's another reason why this team shouldn't be good, but the fact that they are is really, really special. All right. That's really all I can say. Again, don't look for another Mariners video too soon here, but I'll make them if the situation requires it, if and when it does. All right. Streaming with the Hawk's Nest in less than an hour now. Hope to see you guys there. We're going to talk about this upcoming football season, but people wanted me to talk a little baseball, so there's your little bit of baseball. See you guys later. Go Hawks.